The year 2025 is your wake-up call. It's the year you hit pause on the noise. Tune out the endless societal pressures. And finally turn inward. Picture this, you're running full speed on a treadmill. Heart pounding. Legs aching, yet the scenery never changes. You're sprinting. But you're not going anywhere. Sound familiar? That's the trap of modern life. Where chaos and distraction pull us in 100 directions. Leaving us drained. Overwhelmed. And further from what truly matters. But imagine. For a moment. Stepping off that treadmill. Imagine finding clarity in the quiet. Rediscovering the spark within you that's been buried under layers of expectations. 2025 isn't just another year, it's a chance to rewrite your story. A chance to reclaim your focus. To stop living on autopilot. And to align with the deeper purpose that gives your life meaning. What if this year wasn't about doing more, but about doing what truly matters? What if you stopped chasing the approval of others and started chasing the version of yourself you've always wanted to be? The truth is, the world has conditioned us to believe that productivity equals worth. That success is measured by how much we accomplish. And that our value is tied to how others perceive us. But deep down, you know this isn't true. Success isn't about how busy you are or how much noise you make, it's about living in alignment with your inner truth. It's about learning to focus on yourself, not out of selfishness, but as an act of self-respect. And here's the thing, focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring the world around you. It means showing up for others with more clarity, more energy, and more compassion because you've taken the time to nourish your own mind and soul. It means breaking free from the cycles of comparison, people-pleasing, and self-doubt that hold you back and stepping into a version of yourself that's grounded, purposeful, and unshakably confident. This is where the teachings of Buddhism come in, rooted in timeless wisdom. These lessons offer more than spiritual insights, they're practical tools for navigating a world that thrives on distraction. These 10 lessons are not about abandoning your responsibilities or escaping the real world. They're about learning to live intentionally, to find peace in the present moment, and to let go of what no longer serves you. They're about turning inward to discover the strength, clarity, and focus you need to create a life that feels authentic to you. Think of this as your guide for 2025, a blueprint for turning inward, prioritizing your growth, and reclaiming your peace. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through these 10 profound lessons. You'll discover how self-awareness can transform your perspective, how detachment from external validation can set you free, and how mastering focus can illuminate the path to a more meaningful life. These lessons aren't just theories, they're strategies you can apply starting today. So, before we dive in, take a moment. Take a deep breath. This is your time. 2025 isn't just another chapter in your life, it's the year you step into your power. It's the year you focus on yourself. Not as an act of selfishness, but as the most profound act of love you can offer to yourself and the world around you. Let's begin. Lesson 1, start with self-awareness. The Buddha's timeless words. What we think, we become. Remind us of a profound truth, our lives are shaped by the clarity of our self-awareness. But in a world dominated by noise, constant scrolling, notifications, and external demands, how often do we truly pause to understand ourselves? It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind, reacting to life rather than living intentionally. Self-awareness, however, offers a way out. It's not about perfection, it's about recognizing who you are, where you stand, and what truly matters to you. Imagine this, you're sitting in a quiet space. away from the chaos of the world. A notebook resting in your hands. The page is blank, waiting for you to fill it with something honest, something real. Begin with a simple question: what am I feeling right now? Don't worry about whether it sounds profound or polished. Just let the words flow. Write without judgment, without censoring yourself. Maybe you'll jot down a lingering fear, an unspoken desire, or even a small moment of gratitude. Over time, these moments of reflection start to connect, like dots on a map leading you to a deeper understanding of yourself. Take Hiroshi, for example. By all external measures, he was the epitome of success, an accomplished entrepreneur with recognition and influence. Yet beneath the surface, something felt off. No amount of accolades or achievements could quiet the gnawing fear of failure that kept him awake at night. It wasn't until he began a practice of mindful reflection that Hiroshi started to see the patterns in his thoughts and behaviors. He noticed how his fear of failure dictated his decisions, leading him to overwork himself and neglect what truly made him happy. Through self-awareness, he didn't just identify the fear, he faced it. And in facing it, he found balance and clarity, allowing him to realign his life with his values. Self-awareness is not a quick fix. It's not about waking up one day with all the answers. Instead, it's about learning to see yourself clearly, without the filters of judgment or societal expectations. It's about observing the moments that make you feel alive, the patterns that hold you back, and the emotions that drive your choices. This kind of clarity doesn't demand immediate action. In fact, the beauty of self-awareness lies in its stillness. Transformation begins not with change, but with noticing. When you notice, you create space for growth. Think of self-awareness as turning on a light in a dark room. At first, the brightness may feel overwhelming. You might see things you didn't want to face, old fears, unresolved conflicts, or limiting beliefs. But as your eyes adjust, you begin to see the room for what it truly is. You see the mess? Yes. But also the potential. You see the space you have to create something new, something meaningful. One way to cultivate this light is through journaling. Set aside just 5 minutes a day to write about whatever is on your mind. It doesn't have to be structured or perfect. This is for you, not for anyone else. Write about the things that make you happy, the things that frustrate you, or the dreams you're too scared to say out loud. Over time, you'll begin to notice themes. Maybe you'll realize that a certain fear keeps popping up, or that you're happiest when you're engaging in a specific activity. These insights are like breadcrumbs leading you back to yourself. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. Take a few moments each day to sit quietly and tune into your breath. As you inhale and exhale, ask yourself, what do I feel right now? Let the answers come naturally, without forcing or overanalyzing. Mindfulness teaches you to be present with your thoughts and emotions, not as problems to solve, but as parts of yourself to understand. It's in this quiet space that the noise of the outside world begins to fade, and your inner voice grows clearer. But self-awareness isn't just about uncovering the good, it's about facing the uncomfortable truths as well. Maybe you'll realize you've been holding onto a grudge, or that a certain habit no longer serves you. These realizations can be hard to confront, but they are also opportunities for growth. The moment you see these truths for what they are, you have the power to choose what to do with them. Will you let them define you? Or will you use them as stepping stones toward a better version of yourself? Consider this: your mind is like a garden. Without awareness, weeds can grow unchecked. choking the life out of the flowers. But with self-awareness, you become the gardener. You notice the weeds and decide whether to pull them. You water the flowers that bring beauty and joy into your life. Over time, your garden flourishes, not because it's perfect, but because it's cared for. Self-awareness also builds resilience. When you understand your triggers, you can respond to challenges with greater calm and clarity. For example, if you know that criticism tends to make you defensive, you can prepare yourself to pause and breathe the next time it happens. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt, it means you'll have the tools to process the emotion rather than being consumed by it. Perhaps the most profound gift of self-awareness is the sense of empowerment it brings. When you know yourself, you stop living at the mercy of external forces. You begin to make choices that feel authentic. Not because they're expected or praised, but because they align with who you are. This kind of alignment brings a quiet confidence, a sense of peace that no external achievement can match. The path to self-awareness is ongoing. There's no finish line, no moment when you've arrived, but with each step, you'll feel more grounded, more connected to yourself. And from that connection, you'll find the strength to navigate life's complexities with grace. Start small. Start today. Because the more you know yourself, the more equipped you are to create a life that feels true to you. Lesson 2. Define your purpose. Life without purpose is like wandering through a dense forest without a map. The trees are thick, the paths are many, and while each one seems to promise something, none truly leads you to where you want to be. Purpose is that internal compass, the quiet yet unwavering guide that points you toward meaning. It's not always loud, and it's rarely obvious, but when you find it, everything begins to make sense, not because the forest disappears, but because you finally know which direction to go. Imagine Sarah, a corporate executive who seemed to have it all, a prestigious title, financial stability, and the admiration of her peers. Yet, every promotion, every milestone left her feeling increasingly hollow. The outward success only deepened the inward disconnect. One evening, while sorting through old belongings, she came across a journal from her younger years. In its pages, she found the dreams of a girl who wanted to make a difference through education. A girl who believed in empowering others to create a brighter future. That moment of clarity was like a beam of light cutting through the dense forest. Inspired, Sarah took a leap of faith. She left her corporate career to start a non-profit for underprivileged students. It wasn't the easiest path, but for the first time in years, she felt truly alive. Every challenge, every obstacle became meaningful because it was tied to something she believed in. Purpose doesn't always arrive in grand epiphanies or dramatic life changes. Often, it reveals itself quietly, in small, almost unnoticeable ways. It might come to you in a moment of stillness, or when you're doing something that makes your heart feel light. The challenge is not to find your purpose but to listen for it. To recognize it when it whispers amidst the noise. To do this, start small. Spend just 10 minutes each day in quiet contemplation. Ask yourself questions like, why do I wake up each morning? What truly matters to me? Don't rush the answers. Sometimes, the most profound insights come not in the asking, but in the waiting. Over time, you'll begin to notice recurring themes, values, passions, and dreams that feel undeniably yours. These are the seeds of your purpose. Living with purpose means aligning your actions with what truly matters to you. It's about making decisions, big or small, that reflect the essence of who you are. It doesn't mean your life will suddenly be easy or free of challenges. But it does mean those challenges will feel worthwhile. Think about the difference between climbing a mountain for no reason and climbing it to reach a breathtaking view. The effort is the same. But the experience is entirely different when you have a reason that resonates with your soul. Purpose gives your life direction. But it also gives it resilience. When you know your why, you're better equipped to face setbacks and distractions. Take Hiroshi again. The entrepreneur who struggled with fear of failure. Once he identified his purpose, creating solutions that improved people's lives, he found it easier to navigate obstacles. Even when things didn't go as planned, he could remind himself of the bigger picture and move forward with clarity. But what if you're not sure what your purpose is? That's okay. The search for purpose isn't about pressure, it's about exploration. Treat it like a journey, not a destination. Try new things. Revisit old hobbies. Volunteer for causes that resonate with you. Pay attention to the moments when you lose track of time, when you feel completely engaged. Purpose often hides in the activities and connections that make you forget the clock exists. Consider the story of Ayla, a young woman who spent years feeling adrift. She worked a stable job and had a comfortable routine. But something always felt missing. On a whim, she joined a community gardening project one weekend, digging her hands into the soil, connecting with others, and watching something grow gave her a sense of fulfillment she hadn't felt in years. That simple act of planting seeds became a metaphor for her life. Ayla realized she wanted to nurture growth, not just in plants, but in people. She eventually became a mentor for local youth, helping them cultivate their own potential. It wasn't a grand, sudden discovery, but a gradual unfolding of what had always been inside her. Purpose also requires courage. It asks you to step away from the paths that others may have laid out for you and carve one that feels uniquely your own. This can be daunting. Society often rewards conformity and measures success in ways that have little to do with personal fulfillment. But purpose isn't about meeting external expectations. It's about living in alignment with your internal truth. When Sarah decided to leave her corporate job, many questioned her decision. Yet, for the first time in years, she felt peace, not because the road was easy, but because it was hers. It's important to remember that purpose is not static. It evolves as you do. What feels deeply meaningful today may shift tomorrow as you grow and change. That's not a sign that you're lost, it's a sign that you're alive. Allow your purpose to adapt, to deepen, to surprise you. Just as a river carves its path over time, your purpose will guide you, sometimes gently and sometimes with force, toward a life that feels rich and authentic. In 2025, let your purpose be your guide. Let it inform the choices you make, the relationships you nurture, and the dreams you pursue. When distractions tempt you, return to your purpose like a torch in the darkness. It will anchor you, providing clarity amidst the noise. Purpose isn't something you achieve, it's something you live. It's in the small, everyday decisions that align your actions with your values. In the moments when your heart feels full because you're doing what matters most to you. So, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? The answer may not come immediately, but it's there, waiting to be discovered. And once you find it, even the densest forest will feel navigable. Because you'll no longer be wandering. You'll be walking with intention, guided by a light that's uniquely yours. Lesson 3, Detach from external validation. The Buddha taught that craving, whether for possessions, praise, or status, inevitably leads to suffering. In today's world, that wisdom feels more relevant than ever. Social media, career milestones, and societal expectations have created a culture where success is often measured by how others perceive us. Likes, comments, and applause have become currencies of validation. And the chase for them can be all-consuming. But here's the hard truth: no amount of external approval will ever truly satisfy you. It's like pouring water into a jar with a crack, it will never stay full. Imagine this: every action you take, every decision you make, is driven by a simple question: what will others think? You curate your life, your words, even your dreams to fit into an image that pleases those around you. Yet, despite the accolades and the occasional applause, there's an emptiness. Why? Because your worth is tied to something outside of yourself. Something fleeting and unpredictable. When the applause fades, so does the feeling of validation. And that's the trap: the more you seek it, the more you need it. Like a thirst that only grows stronger with every sip. But what if there's another way? A way to step off this treadmill of seeking approval and reclaim your sense of self. Imagine focusing inward. Asking yourself a simple yet profound question: am I proud of my effort? Not whether others are impressed. Not whether it meets someone else's standards. But whether it aligns with your own values and brings you genuine fulfillment. This shift is liberating. It turns the focus from the uncontrollable, how others perceive you, to the one thing you can control, your own intentions and actions. Consider the story of a monk walking through a village. A man approached him, shouting insults and trying to provoke a reaction. The monk, calm and composed, simply smiled and said, "If you offer me a gift and I do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The same applies to validation. Praise and criticism are like gifts, they only affect us if we choose to accept them. By refusing to let others' opinions define him, the monk remained at peace, unaffected by the chaos around him. This story is a reminder that validation, whether positive or negative, only has power over you if you let it. Detaching from external validation doesn't mean you stop caring about others or their feelings. It means you stop relying on their opinions to define your self-worth. It's about shifting your focus from seeking approval to celebrating your own journey. When you detach, you free yourself from the constant need to impress. Instead of asking, "What will they think?" you start asking, "Does this align with who I am?" In practice, this might look like celebrating small wins that others might not even notice. Imagine working on a project you're passionate about. You pour your heart into it, and when it's complete, you feel a sense of pride, not because others will applaud it, but because you know you gave it your all. That pride is yours, independent of anyone else's opinion. It's the kind of fulfillment that lasts, because it comes from within. One way to cultivate this mindset is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. When you're working toward a goal, pay attention to the effort you're putting in, the growth you're experiencing, and the lessons you're learning along the way. This approach not only keeps you grounded but also helps you find joy in the journey, rather than tying your happiness to a specific result. The process is where life happens, it's where you discover your strength, resilience, and creativity. The outcome, while important, is just a moment in time. Don't let it overshadow the richness of the path that got you there. Social media is one of the biggest culprits when it comes to fostering a dependence on external validation. It's designed to reward us with likes and comments, creating a cycle of dopamine hits that keep us coming back for more. But what we often forget is that what we see online is curated, it's not reality, but a highlight reel. Comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel is not only unfair, but it also diminishes your own unique journey. If social media feels like a source of anxiety or comparison, take control of your experience. Mute accounts that trigger negative feelings. Set boundaries for your usage. And remember that your worth is not measured by numbers on a screen. Detaching from external validation also means setting boundaries with people in your life. This doesn't mean shutting others out or ignoring feedback, but it does mean being selective about whose opinions you allow to influence you. Ask yourself, does this person understand my values? Do they genuinely want what's best for me? If the answer is no, then their opinion, while perhaps well-intentioned, doesn't need to carry weight. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who encourage you to be your authentic self, rather than conforming to an image of who they think you should be. This shift takes time. Detachment isn't about flipping a switch, it's about gradually reclaiming your power. Piece by piece. Start small. The next time you receive a compliment, take a moment to appreciate it, but then ask yourself, would I still feel proud of this if no one noticed? Similarly, when faced with criticism, pause and reflect, is this feedback useful? Or is it simply someone projecting their own insecurities? These moments of self-reflection are where detachment begins. True peace comes from within. When you stop chasing external validation, you create space for something far more meaningful, self-acceptance. You begin to recognize that your worth is not something others can give or take away, it's inherent. And when you live from that place of inner peace, you radiate a quiet confidence that's far more powerful than any applause. People are drawn to authenticity, not perfection. And by embracing your true self, you inspire others to do the same. So, take a deep breath. Let go of the need to please everyone, to be everything to everyone. Instead, focus on being true to yourself. Celebrate your journey, not because others will applaud it, but because it's yours. Detachment isn't about apathy, it's about freedom. Freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to pursue what matters most to you, without the weight of others' expectations holding you back. Lesson 4, focus on what you can control. Life is unpredictable. One moment, everything seems to align perfectly, and the next, it feels as if the ground beneath you has shifted. Relationships evolve. Opportunities slip away, and challenges arise without warning. It's tempting to fight against these uncertainties, to try to control every aspect of our lives in a desperate attempt to find stability. But here's the truth, we can't control everything. The more we resist this reality, the more exhausted we become. Peace isn't found in trying to bend the world to our will. It's found in focusing on what we can control. Picture yourself in a small boat, caught in the middle of a storm. The waves rise around you, the wind howls, and the rain beats down. You can't stop the storm, and you can't calm the sea. But you can steady your oars, adjust your sails, and navigate through it. This is the essence of focusing on what's within your power. The storm represents life's uncertainties, the things beyond your control, while the boat and the oars symbolize your choices, your responses, and your mindset. By shifting your energy to what you can influence, you not only weather the storm but often emerge stronger and wiser on the other side. When challenges arise, our instinct is often to react immediately. We feel the need to fix, to fight, to regain control as quickly as possible. But what if, instead, we paused? What if, in the face of a setback, we took a deep breath and asked ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I move forward constructively? These questions are simple, yet they hold immense power. They transform obstacles into opportunities, struggles into lessons, and setbacks into stepping stones for growth. By reframing challenges in this way, we shift from being passive victims of circumstance to active participants in our own journey. Consider the story of a monk meditating peacefully under a tree. A traveler approached him, frustrated and angry, and began shouting insults. The monk, however, remained calm, his serenity unshaken. When the traveler finally demanded to know why he didn't respond, the monk simply said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" This simple yet profound perspective reminds us that while we can't control how others act, we have complete control over how we respond. The chaos of others doesn't have to disturb our inner peace unless we allow it to. This principle applies to so many areas of life. Think about the things that typically cause you stress. Perhaps it's a coworker's attitude, an unexpected change in plans, or the actions of a loved one. How much energy do you spend trying to change these external factors? Now, imagine redirecting that energy inward, toward your own actions and mindset. Instead of trying to control someone else's behavior, you focus on setting boundaries, improving your communication, or practicing patience. Instead of resisting a change in plans, you adapt, finding new ways to make the best of the situation. This shift isn't just practical, it's empowering. One of the most freeing realizations is that we are not responsible for controlling everything around us. Our responsibility lies in controlling ourselves, our thoughts, our reactions, and our choices. This doesn't mean we ignore challenges or avoid difficult situations. On the contrary, it means we face them with clarity and intention. When you let go of the need to control the uncontrollable, you create space for growth, resilience, and peace. Think about the last time you were overwhelmed by a situation that felt out of your control. Maybe it was a missed opportunity, a conflict with a friend, or even global events beyond your influence. How much of your energy went into worrying, blaming, or resisting? Now, imagine taking that same situation and asking, what can I do right now, with what I have, to make a positive difference? It might be a small action, like expressing gratitude, offering kindness, or simply taking a moment to breathe. These small, intentional actions are within your control, and they often have a ripple effect, creating a sense of calm and clarity not only for yourself but for those around you. This mindset shift isn't always easy. It takes practice to distinguish between what's within your power and what isn't. A helpful exercise is to visualize two circles, an inner circle representing what you can control and an outer circle representing what you can't. Fill the inner circle with things like your thoughts, your actions, and your perspective. Fill the outer circle with things like other people's opinions, the past, and the future. When you feel overwhelmed, return to this visualization. Focus your energy on the inner circle and let go of the rest. One of the most powerful aspects of focusing on what you can control is how it strengthens your resilience. When you shift your energy inward, you build a foundation of self-trust and adaptability. You learn that no matter what happens, you have the tools to navigate it. This resilience is like the steadying of the oars in that small boat. It doesn't stop the storm, but it keeps you moving forward, one stroke at a time. A powerful example of this is a woman named Elena who faced an unexpected layoff after years of dedication to her job. Initially, she was consumed by fear and frustration, fixating on the unfairness of the situation. But then, she decided to focus on what she could control. She updated her resume, reached out to her network, and used the time to explore passions she had long set aside. Months later, Elena found a new job that aligned more closely with her values and discovered a sense of fulfillment she hadn't felt in years. The storm didn't defeat her, it redirected her. As you navigate the uncertainties of life, remember that your power lies in your response. The waves may rise, and the winds may shift, but you hold the oars. You decide how to steer your boat. By focusing on what you can control, you free yourself from the exhaustion of trying to manage the uncontrollable. You reclaim your energy, your peace, and your sense of direction, and in doing so, you discover that even amidst the storm, there is a quiet strength within you, guiding you forward. Lesson 5. Align actions with values. Have you ever felt a disconnect between what you do and who you truly are? It's a subtle ache, a quiet dissatisfaction that creeps in even when life seems outwardly fine. You may be meeting expectations, achieving goals, and staying busy, yet something feels off. That emptiness often comes from living out of alignment with your values. Like trying to navigate life with a compass that points in the wrong direction. The disconnection isn't because you're failing, it's because you're following a path that doesn't reflect who you truly are. Buddhist philosophy reminds us of the importance of intentional living. A life where our actions and values are deeply intertwined. When what we do aligns with what we believe, life flows with a sense of purpose and authenticity. But alignment doesn't happen by chance, it begins with clarity. Take a moment to identify your core values. Maybe you value integrity, compassion, creativity, or growth. Write them down. These aren't just abstract ideals, they're the foundation of who you are. Next to each value, list a small daily action that honors it. These actions don't need to be grand, they just need to be meaningful. Consider Emily, a corporate lawyer who spent her days immersed in contracts and deadlines. On paper, her life was successful, but deep down, she felt a growing void. One evening, after a particularly long day, she stumbled across an old sketchbook. Flipping through its pages, she realized how much she missed creating. Creativity was a value she held close but had buried under the weight of her career. Inspired, Emily began dedicating her weekends to painting. It was a small act, but it reignited a sense of joy and fulfillment she hadn't felt in years. Aligning her actions with her value of creativity didn't mean abandoning her career, it simply meant making space for what truly mattered to her. Living in alignment doesn't require a dramatic life overhaul. It starts with small, deliberate choices. If compassion is a core value, you might commit to checking in on a friend once a week or volunteering at a local shelter. If growth is important to you, perhaps you dedicate 15 minutes each day to reading or learning something new. These actions may seem minor, but their impact is profound. Each time you act in alignment with your values, you strengthen your sense of self and deepen your connection to what truly matters. When your actions reflect your values, life feels more authentic and grounded. You stop chasing external markers of success and start building a life that feels true to you. But what happens when life pulls you away from that alignment? It's easy to get caught up in the demands of the world, to prioritize what others expect over what you need. When this happens, pause and ask yourself, does this choice honor my values? This simple question can serve as a guide, helping you steer back to what's meaningful. Alignment also requires courage. It's not always easy to live according to your values, especially when doing so goes against societal expectations or the opinions of others. Choosing integrity might mean turning down an opportunity that doesn't feel right, even if it's lucrative. Prioritizing compassion might mean setting boundaries with someone who drains your energy, even if it's uncomfortable. These choices can be challenging, but they are also empowering. Each one is a statement: this is who I am. This is what matters to me. Think of alignment as a compass, not a straight line. There will be times when you drift, when circumstances make it difficult to stay true to your values. That's okay. What matters is not perfection, but intention. Each day offers an opportunity to realign, to make choices that bring you closer to the life you want to live. It's like adjusting the sails on a boat. You may not control the wind, but you can always steer toward your destination. Imagine your values as the roots of a tree. When your actions are aligned with your values, your life becomes like a tree firmly rooted in the earth. The branches may sway in the wind, and the leaves may fall with the seasons, but the roots keep you grounded. No matter what storms come your way, you remain steady because you're anchored in something deeper than the surface of your daily tasks. Alignment also fosters trust, both in yourself and in your relationships. When your actions match your values, you build integrity. You start to trust your own decisions because they come from a place of authenticity. Others notice this too. They see you as someone who lives with intention, someone who stands by their principles. This trust is powerful. It strengthens connections and creates a ripple effect, inspiring those around you to live more authentically as well. Living in alignment doesn't mean life will be without challenges. There will still be obstacles, conflicts, and moments of doubt. But when your actions are guided by your values, those challenges feel purposeful. They become part of your journey, not distractions from it. Even in difficult times, you can find peace in knowing that you're living in a way that's true to who you are. Take a moment to reflect. What are your core values? What small actions can you take today to honor them? These actions don't need to be perfect or impressive, they just need to be yours. Start small, and let those actions grow. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Life won't just feel busy, it will feel meaningful. The choices you make will carry weight, not because they're grand, but because they reflect the deepest parts of who you are. Alignment is not a destination, it's a practice. Each day, each decision, is an opportunity to live closer to your truth. And in that practice, you'll find a life that feels not just successful, but fulfilling. You'll find a life that feels like home. Lesson 6, Master Focus. The Buddha taught, the secret of health for both mind and body is to live in the present moment. In today's world, that wisdom feels more relevant than ever. Life has become a constant race against distractions, notifications pinging, to-do lists growing, and the endless pull of multitasking. Yet, amidst all this chaos, there's a quiet power that often goes overlooked: focus. To master focus is to reclaim control over your mind, to move through life with intention rather than reaction. It is, in many ways, the superpower of our time. Imagine a single candle flickering in a dark room. When the flame wavers, shadows dance unpredictably, distorting the space around it. But when the flame is steady, it illuminates the room clearly, revealing its true shape and contours. Your mind works the same way. When scattered by distractions, everything feels chaotic and overwhelming. But when steady and focused, your mind becomes a tool of clarity, allowing you to see the world, and yourself, with precision and purpose. Mastering focus begins with presence. It's about being fully engaged with whatever you're doing at the moment. Whether it's a work task, a conversation, or even something as simple as preparing a meal. Yet, in a culture that glorifies multitasking, presence can feel counterintuitive. We're taught that doing more equals being more productive. But research shows the opposite. Multitasking divides your attention, reduces efficiency, and leaves you feeling drained. True productivity comes from immersing yourself in one thing at a time. Start your day by setting clear priorities. Instead of overwhelming yourself with a never-ending list of tasks, choose 3 things that truly matter. These are your non-negotiables. The actions that align with your goals and values. Dedicate uninterrupted time to each, giving them your full attention. If distractions arise, and they will, gently redirect your focus back to the task at hand. This practice, often referred to as single tasking, is deceptively simple but profoundly effective. Consider the story of a young monk struggling to focus during his lessons. Frustrated, he approached his teacher, who handed him a cup of tea and said, "Drink your tea." Confused but obedient, the monk began sipping. As he asked more questions, the teacher simply repeated, "Drink your tea." Only later did the monk understand the lesson. Whatever you do, do it fully. Focus is not about forcing yourself to concentrate, it's about choosing to be fully present with what's in front of you. Reclaiming focus also means creating an environment that supports it. Your surroundings play a significant role in how well you can concentrate. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind will likely feel the same. Take a few moments to organize your space, removing distractions and setting up an environment that invites calm and clarity. This might mean turning off notifications, silencing your phone, or even creating a dedicated time block where interruptions are minimized. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for mastering focus. By practicing mindfulness meditation, you train your mind to observe distractions without being pulled away by them. Sit quietly for a few minutes each day and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breathing. This simple exercise strengthens your ability to redirect your attention, a skill that carries over into every aspect of life. Over time, you'll find it easier to stay grounded in the present moment, even amidst the noise of daily life. Focusing doesn't just improve productivity, it enhances the quality of your experiences. When you're fully present, even mundane tasks take on a new richness. Washing dishes becomes an opportunity to feel the warmth of the water and the rhythm of your movements. Walking becomes a moment to notice the world around you, the sway of the trees, the sound of your footsteps, the crispness of the air. These moments, when lived fully, transform from ordinary to extraordinary. Mastering focus also allows you to protect your energy. Distractions don't just pull your attention, they drain your emotional and mental reserves. Think about how often you've felt exhausted at the end of a day. Not because you accomplished so much, but because your mind was scattered in 100 directions. By focusing on what truly matters, you conserve your energy for the things that align with your values and goals. You become intentional about where you invest your time and attention, ensuring that your efforts lead to meaningful outcomes. However, it's important to approach focus with compassion. There will be days when distractions win. When your mind feels restless and scattered. That's okay. Focus is a practice, not a perfection. Each time you bring your attention back to the present moment, no matter how many times it drifts, you strengthen your ability to concentrate. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Let's not overlook the joy that comes from focus. When you're truly present, you're not just more productive, you're more alive. The noise fades, and you find yourself immersed in the moment, fully engaged and connected. This state, often referred to as flow, is where creativity thrives and fulfillment grows. Whether you're writing, cooking, or spending time with loved ones, the act of focusing amplifies the experience, making it richer and more rewarding. Focus isn't about cutting yourself off from the world, it's about being more intentional with how you engage with it. It's about choosing what deserves your attention and letting go of what doesn't. The result isn't just greater productivity, it's greater peace. You stop chasing after every distraction and start living with clarity and purpose. So, the next time you feel pulled in a dozen directions, take a deep breath and remember the candle. Let your mind be steady and your focus clear. Choose to be fully present. Whether you're working, resting, or simply sipping a cup of tea, in that presence, you'll find not just focus, but a deeper connection to life itself. And that, as the Buddha taught, is the true secret to health for both mind and body. Lesson 7, Build emotional resilience. Life's storms are inevitable. They come without warning, a sudden loss, a sharp disappointment, an unexpected change. But while you cannot stop the storm, you can decide how you face it. Emotional resilience is the anchor that keeps you steady, the quiet strength that allows you to bend without breaking. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending everything is fine. It's about embracing those feelings, acknowledging their presence, and finding a way to move through them without letting them define you. Imagine a monk whose hut burned down one evening. As the flames consumed everything he owned, he stood quietly, watching the destruction. When asked how he felt, he replied, "Now I can see the moon." His words capture something profound, the ability to find beauty, even in loss. This doesn't mean the loss wasn't real or painful, it means he chose to shift his perspective, to focus on what remained rather than what was gone. Emotional resilience is not denial, it's the art of transforming pain into insight, and adversity into growth. When difficulties arise, the natural reaction is often to push the emotions away. We tell ourselves to stay strong or move on, as if feeling deeply is a weakness. But resilience begins with acceptance. Instead of fighting your emotions, pause and reflect, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? These questions, though simple, open a door to understanding. They allow you to step back from the raw intensity of your feelings and see them for what they are, a natural response to life's challenges, not a permanent state. Recognizing your emotions gives you the space to choose your response. Imagine someone cutting you off in traffic. The immediate reaction might be frustration or anger, a surge of adrenaline urging you to react. But if you pause and reflect, you might realize the anger isn't about the other driver, it's about feeling disrespected or out of control. This awareness doesn't erase the frustration, but it gives you the power to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You might take a deep breath, let it go, and continue your day with your peace intact. Resilience also means understanding that emotions are not enemies to be defeated but messages to be heard. When sadness arises, It might be pointing you towards something that needs healing. When fear appears, it might be urging you to pay attention to something important. By listening to these emotions, you build a relationship with yourself that is rooted in compassion rather than judgment. This self-compassion is a cornerstone of resilience. It reminds you that it's okay to feel, to struggle, and to take time to recover. Building emotional resilience doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a skill you develop over time. One way to strengthen it is through mindfulness meditation. By sitting quietly and observing your breath, you train your mind to stay present, even when distractions or discomfort arise. Each time your mind wanders, you gently bring it back to your breath. This simple practice teaches you to stay grounded in the face of life's ups and downs, to notice your emotions without being swept away by them. Another tool for resilience is reframing. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? This doesn't mean dismissing the difficulty, it means choosing to see it as an opportunity for growth. Consider the story of Elena, who faced a career setback after being passed over for a promotion. Initially, she felt defeated, questioning her abilities and worth. But as she reflected, she realized this was an opportunity to re-evaluate her goals. She began pursuing a certification in a field she was passionate about, eventually landing a role that aligned with her values. The setback became a stepping stone, not because it wasn't painful, but because she chose to grow from it. Resilience is also about connection. Sharing your struggles with someone you trust can be incredibly healing. It reminds you that you're not alone, that others have weathered similar storms and found their way through. Sometimes, just hearing someone say, "I understand," can be enough to anchor you in a moment of turbulence. Connection doesn't erase the storm, but it makes it feel less isolating. The storms of life will test you, but they also shape you. Each challenge you face is like a wave polishing a stone, smoothing its rough edges and revealing its inner beauty. This doesn't mean you should seek out difficulty, but it does mean recognizing that adversity has the power to transform you in ways comfort cannot. Every time you bend and don't break, every time you rise after falling, you become stronger, wiser, and more connected to your inner strength. Resilience is not about being unshakable, it's about being unbreakable. It's about knowing that even when the winds howl and the rain falls, you have the tools to steady yourself. It's about trusting that the storm will pass and that when it does, you'll still be standing, perhaps even stronger than before. Emotional resilience is not a shield that protects you from pain, it's a foundation that helps you navigate it with grace. As you build resilience, remember to celebrate the small victories. Each time you pause instead of reacting, each time you face an emotion instead of running from it, you're strengthening your ability to weather life's challenges. Resilience is not a destination, it's a journey, one you walk every day, and with each step, you're becoming the kind of person who can face life's storms with courage and compassion, knowing that even in the darkest moments, there is always the possibility of seeing the moon. Lesson 8. Cultivate a growth mindset. The path to enlightenment, as Buddhism teaches, is about progress, not perfection. It's about understanding that life is not a straight road but a winding journey, full of unexpected turns and challenges. Each obstacle, no matter how difficult, holds the potential to teach us something valuable. A growth mindset embraces this truth, seeing every experience, whether success or failure, as an opportunity to learn and evolve. It's not about avoiding failure but about transforming it into a stepping stone towards something greater. Imagine an artist who pours her heart into her work, only to face rejection after rejection. Each declined exhibition, each critique could have been a reason to give up. But instead of letting these setbacks define her, she chose to see them as lessons. She asked herself, what can I do differently? How can I improve? Slowly, piece by piece, she refined her craft. Her brushstrokes became more confident, her vision clearer. Over time, her perseverance bore fruit, not because she was the most talented, but because she was willing to grow. Her journey wasn't about achieving perfection, it was about embracing the process. A growth mindset invites us to approach life with the same openness and curiosity. It asks us to shift our focus from outcomes to efforts, from fixed results to continuous learning. When you encounter a challenge, instead of thinking, I'm not good at this, try reframing it, I'm not good at this yet. That small word, yet, carries immense power. It acknowledges that growth takes time and that your current state is just a snapshot, not a final destination. Keeping a growth journal can be a transformative practice. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect on a struggle you faced and the lesson it taught you. Write it down, not as a failure, but as a step in your journey. Maybe you missed a deadline and learned the importance of better time management. Maybe you had a difficult conversation and discovered the value of patience and listening. These reflections help you see setbacks not as roadblocks but as opportunities to grow. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns in your growth, recognizing how far you've come even amidst the challenges. This mindset doesn't come naturally to everyone. Many of us are conditioned to avoid failure, to see mistakes as signs of inadequacy rather than opportunities to learn. But growth requires courage, the courage to try, to fail, and to try again. Think of a child learning to walk. They stumble, fall, and get back up, over and over, until one day, they're running. They don't see falling as failure, they see it as part of the process. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose that resilience, becoming afraid of falling. A growth mindset is about reclaiming that childlike willingness to learn through doing, even when it's messy. Consider the story of Sarah, a young entrepreneur who launched her first business with high hopes, only to watch it fail within a year. The experience was devastating at first, shaking her confidence and making her question her abilities. But after some reflection, she realized the failure had taught her valuable lessons about budgeting, customer relationships, and adaptability. Armed with this new knowledge, she started a second business, this time with a stronger foundation. It wasn't an overnight success, but it thrived because she was willing to grow from her mistakes. Reframing failure as a teacher doesn't mean dismissing the pain or difficulty of setbacks. It's okay to feel disappointed or frustrated when things don't go as planned. But instead of letting those emotions keep you stuck, use them as fuel to move forward. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to improve? Each time you choose growth over stagnation, you strengthen your resilience and expand your capacity for success. A growth mindset also means being kind to yourself during the process. Growth is rarely linear. There will be days when you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's okay. Progress isn't measured by perfection but by persistence. Celebrate the small victories, the moments when you push through discomfort, try something new, or simply show up despite the challenges. These moments, though small, are the building blocks of transformation. Surrounding yourself with a supportive environment can also nurture a growth mindset. Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you to think differently and encourage you to keep going when the road gets tough. Their belief in your potential can help you believe in it too. At the same time, be mindful of your inner dialogue. The way you talk to yourself matters. Replace self-criticism with self-encouragement. Instead of saying, "I'll never get this right," say, "I'm figuring this out." Words have power. And the way you frame your experiences shapes how you approach them. Growth isn't just about overcoming challenges, it's also about embracing curiosity. Try new things. Explore unfamiliar paths. And ask questions. The more you expose yourself to different experiences, the more opportunities you have to learn and grow. Even if you're not immediately successful, each attempt adds to your knowledge and broadens your perspective. Remember, growth isn't about being the best, it's about becoming better than you were yesterday. In cultivating a growth mindset, you're not just changing how you approach challenges, you're changing how you approach life. You begin to see potential where others see obstacles. To find opportunities in situations that seem impossible. This perspective doesn't just make you more resilient, it makes you more open, more adaptable, and more willing to take risks. It transforms fear into curiosity, failure into learning, and effort into progress. The path to growth is not always easy, but it's always worth it. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you're capable of becoming. Embrace the journey. Trust the process. And remember that every challenge is an invitation to grow. With a growth mindset, you're not just surviving life's challenges, you're thriving through them. One step at a time. Lesson 9, learn to let go. Attachment creates suffering. It's a truth that resonates deeply when we examine the moments in our lives where pain lingers. Often, it's not the events themselves but our inability to let go of them that keeps us stuck. The Buddha's wisdom, "You only lose what you cling to," serves as a gentle reminder that letting go is not an act of defeat but an act of liberation. It's about unburdening yourself, creating space for peace, growth, and new opportunities. Imagine a monk who carries a woman across a river to help her reach the other side, though their teachings discouraged physical contact. His act was one of compassion and necessity. Hours later, his disciple, still brooding, finally speaks up, asking why the monk had done such a thing. The monk replies calmly, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story illustrates a profound truth: the weight we carry isn't always physical. Often, it's the mental and emotional baggage, the grudges, regrets, fears, and unmet expectations that burden us long after the moment has passed. Letting go begins with recognizing what you're holding on to. Is it fear of failure? Regret over a missed opportunity? The pain of a relationship that didn't turn out the way you hoped? Or perhaps it's an idealized version of yourself you're constantly trying to live up to, even at the cost of your happiness. A moment to reflect. What thoughts, memories, or expectations do you carry that no longer serve you? Identifying them is the first step to releasing them. Releasing doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing what happened. It means acknowledging the impact of the experience, accepting it as part of your story, and choosing not to let it define your present. Think of letting go as unclenching your fists after holding on to something tightly for too long. It may feel strange or even uncomfortable at first, but as your grip softens, you'll begin to feel a sense of relief, like taking a deep breath after holding it in for too long. One powerful way to let go is by shifting your focus from what you can't control to what you can. If you've experienced a setback, ask yourself, What can I learn from this? How can I move forward? These questions redirect your energy from dwelling on the past to creating a better future. Letting go doesn't erase the past, but it transforms how you carry it. The memories remain, but they lose their power to weigh you down. Consider the story of Elena, a woman who spent years holding on to resentment toward a friend who betrayed her trust. The pain consumed her, affecting not only her relationships but also her sense of self-worth. One day, during a mindfulness retreat, she was guided through an exercise to release what no longer served her. She imagined the resentment as a heavy stone in her hands and visualized herself setting it down. In that moment, she realized that holding on to the pain only hurt herself. By letting it go, she wasn't excusing her friend's actions, she was freeing herself from the burden of carrying them. Letting go also means releasing the need for things to unfold a certain way. We often tie our happiness to specific outcomes: getting the job, the promotion, the relationship, and when things don't go as planned, we feel a sense of loss. But life is rarely predictable, and clinging to expectations only leads to frustration. Instead, practice embracing uncertainty. Trust that even when things don't go as you envisioned, they can still lead to growth and new possibilities. Gratitude is a powerful tool in the process of letting go. When you focus on what you have rather than what you've lost, your perspective shifts. Each morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your skin or a kind word from a friend. Gratitude helps you see that life is not defined by what's missing but by what remains. Letting go is not a one-time act but a practice. Some days, it will feel easier than others. There will be moments when old wounds resurface or when you're tempted to revisit the past. When this happens, be gentle with yourself. Acknowledge the emotion without judgment and remind yourself of your intention to release it. Over time, you'll notice that the weight you once carried begins to feel lighter. Forgiveness is another important part of letting go, not just forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself. We are often our harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and replaying our mistakes over and over in our minds. But self-forgiveness is not about excusing your actions, it's about accepting your humanity. It's about recognizing that you, like everyone else, are a work in progress. And that growth often comes from the very mistakes we wish we could undo. Imagine standing at the edge of a pond, holding a stone. This stone represents whatever you're holding on to: a regret, a fear, a past hurt. Now imagine tossing the stone into the water. Watch as it sinks, creating ripples that gradually fade. The water becomes still again, and you're left standing there, lighter, freer. Letting go doesn't mean the stone didn't exist. It means you've chosen not to carry it anymore. In learning to let go, you create space for new possibilities. When your hands are no longer clutching the past, they're open to receiving the present. This openness allows you to experience life more fully, to embrace what is rather than lament what was or fear what might be. It's in this space that peace resides, not because life is perfect, but because you've chosen to release what no longer serves you. Letting go is an act of courage, a leap of faith that says, I trust myself enough to move forward. It's not about erasing the past but about making room for the future. And in that act of release, you'll find a freedom that allows you to live with greater ease, clarity, and joy. Lesson 10. Lead authentically. The most profound way to inspire others is by living authentically. In a world where many are striving to fit into molds, to meet expectations that don't reflect their true selves, authenticity shines like a beacon of hope. When your actions align with your values. When your words and deeds reflect the essence of who you are. You naturally become a source of strength and inspiration. Authenticity doesn't demand perfection, it asks for honesty. It's about showing up as you are. Embracing your flaws. And allowing your unique light to guide your way and touch the lives of others. The bamboo tree offers a powerful metaphor for the journey of authenticity. For years, it grows quietly beneath the surface, developing strong roots that no one can see. Then, almost overnight, it shoots up, towering high and strong. This transformation isn't sudden, it's the result of consistent, unseen growth. Similarly, living authentically begins with internal work, exploring your values, understanding your truth, and cultivating a sense of self that isn't swayed by external pressures. When the time comes, this quiet foundation allows you to stand tall, unwavering and resilient. Leading authentically starts with prioritizing your own growth. It's not about seeking approval or trying to impress others. It's about asking yourself, who am I and what do I stand for? This clarity empowers you to make choices that resonate deeply with your values. And as you do, you inspire others to do the same, not by telling them what to do, but by showing them what's possible. Your example becomes a reminder that they, too, can live in alignment with their true selves. Authenticity isn't about never making mistakes. In fact, it's in acknowledging your imperfections that your authenticity shines brightest. When you're honest about your struggles, your doubts, and your growth, you give others permission to embrace their own humanity. It's in saying, I don't have all the answers, but I'm committed to learning, that you create a connection far more powerful than any facade of perfection ever could. Think of a leader or mentor who has inspired you. Chances are, it wasn't their title or accomplishments that moved you, it was their authenticity. Perhaps it was the way they listened with genuine care, or how they admitted when they didn't know something, or the quiet confidence they exuded simply by being themselves. True leadership isn't about commanding attention, it's about earning trust. And trust is built when people see that you're not pretending to be someone you're not. Living authentically also means honoring your boundaries. It's recognizing that saying no to what doesn't align with your values is just as important as saying yes to what does. This can be challenging, especially when faced with societal pressures or the fear of disappointing others. But each time you choose to honor your truth, you strengthen your sense of self and pave the way for deeper, more meaningful connections. Authenticity doesn't just inspire others, it brings peace to your own life. When you stop trying to fit into expectations that don't reflect who you are, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of seeking external validation. You begin to find joy in simply being, rather than constantly doing. This peace is magnetic. It draws others to you, not because you're trying to lead them, but because your authenticity creates a space where they feel safe to be themselves. Consider the ripple effect of living authentically. When you make choices that align with your values, you set an example for those around you. Your courage inspires courage in others. Your honesty encourages honesty. This ripple effect doesn't require grand gestures, it starts with small, intentional actions. It's in the way you treat others, the way you handle challenges, and the way you show up in the world. Authenticity also means embracing vulnerability. It's about being open to growth and willing to admit when you're wrong. This isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to your strength. By showing that you're willing to learn, you demonstrate the kind of humility and self-awareness that makes a true leader. Vulnerability fosters trust and connection, reminding others that they're not alone in their struggles. Leading authentically requires patience and perseverance. Just like the bamboo tree, the most meaningful growth often happens beneath the surface, unseen by others. It may take time for your authenticity to fully blossom. But when it does, its impact will be undeniable. Each choice you make to live in alignment with your values reinforces the foundation of your truth, allowing you to stand strong even in the face of adversity. It's important to remember that authenticity isn't a destination, it's a journey. It evolves as you do, deepening with each experience, and each moment of reflection. There will be times when you falter, when the pressures of the world make you question your path. In those moments, return to your roots, revisit your values and remind yourself of why you chose to live authentically in the first place. The beauty of leading authentically is that it doesn't require a platform or a title. You don't need to be in a position of authority to make an impact. By simply living your truth, you become a leader in your own right. You inspire those around you, not by telling them what to do, but by showing them what's possible when you choose to live in alignment with who you truly are. As you continue this journey, remember that authenticity is not about perfection. It's about honesty, courage, and the willingness to grow. It's about embracing who you are and trusting that your truth is enough. By leading authentically, you not only create a life that feels deeply fulfilling, but you also inspire others to do the same. In living your truth, you light the way for others to discover theirs. The year 2025 is your opportunity to turn inward, to pause and truly listen to the quiet call of your inner self. It's a time to rediscover what brings you joy, to realign with your purpose, and to build a life filled with peace and meaning. The lessons of self-awareness, purpose, detachment, and resilience are more than just ancient philosophies, they are timeless tools for transformation, ready to guide you toward a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. As you focus on yourself, you'll begin to notice a beautiful ripple effect. The peace and clarity you cultivate within will naturally extend outward, uplifting the people in your life. This isn't selfish, it's the ultimate act of love and service. By grounding yourself in your truth, you show up for others with greater strength, compassion, and authenticity. Imagine the impact of a world where more of us embrace this journey, a world where kindness and understanding flourish because we've taken the time to nurture those qualities within ourselves. Let 2025 be the year you stop chasing the noise of the outside world and start embracing the stillness of being. It's in that stillness that you'll find the answers you've been seeking and the strength to move forward with confidence and grace. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If this video resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What lesson spoke to you the most? How do you plan to focus on yourself in the year ahead? Share your journey in the comments below. We're here to support and celebrate you every step of the way. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more inspiring content, and share it with someone who might need these reminders. Together, let's make 2025 a year of growth, connection, and profound transformation. You've got this.